Welcome to the Real Estate Investors Podcast. We interview awesome people from around the industry, helping to give you the resources you need to level up your business. Here's your host, Tyler Woodall.
Hey everybody, this is Tyler Woodall back with the Real Estate Investor Podcast. Today I've got a couple of neat guests. We've got Jen and Stacy, and without further ado, will y'all introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Jen Conkey.
I'm Stacy.
Yeah, we're used to saying it like that. So we've been investing in real estate since 2003, going on 2 decades now. And what we're most known for is our remote investing. We do it. I kind of admire the fact that he's just driving in a car in his mobile office. But that's what we do. Yeah, we do mobile real estate investing, but not in mobile homes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, the world we live in now, everything's over Zoom, everything's done over your smartphone. So it's pretty intuitive that that's the way to go. How did you get started doing it remote?
Well, when I started, we both started in 2003, just different paths. Our paths just only joined 7 years ago. But when I got started, I lived in Northern California, and prices are high. Competition is high, and it's just a difficult place to get started. And I ended up meeting someone who was investing from Canada in the United States. And I just started asking a lot of questions. And immediately my first deal was in Nevada, and then Illinois, and then Michigan, and then Florida. And I never ended up investing where I lived. So for me, the whole past 2 decades have been pretty much remote investing, because I learned how to do it from early on. And it's actually easier. Yeah. It takes us less time than if we find a deal in our home market. We're like, oh, should we drive there? Like, what do we do?
Yeah. And then you feel compelled to drive there because you're there.
Right.
Right. I get that. So break it down for me a little bit. I mean, what are some of the keys? What's the differences? I'd imagine it's important for you guys to have boots on the ground. You've gotten really good at kind of analyzing comps, but tell me where somebody should get started if they wanted to do what you do.
It all starts with, first, you got to know your strategy. You got to know what you're trying to get into, what you're trying to accomplish. So for us, we literally look at value add opportunities, because we like to get in there and add value to it. So we're getting cash flow and appreciation on it. But we're not opposed to going in and finding a stabilized property and getting in on that, so it's cash flowing on day one. The ultimate decision is, what strategy are you going to use so that you know what size properties you're going to look at, what type of return you're looking for, what market you should enter. And once you enter that market, our boots on the ground, we create our team once we do market research and we identify this is a really good market. It's either a hot market or an emerging market or a really good market that's been performing well. We'll go in and we will just contact realtors, contractors, inspectors, and build our team boots on the ground there in that market, because they know it better than we do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think sometimes
really just leveraging the internet. Go ahead.
Go ahead and say that again. You broke up. I didn't hear you.
I was saying, really just leveraging the internet to find thought leaders and experts in all the different markets. So you're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And I think, Tyler, that one of the things that people sometimes have an incorrect perception, is that because they live where they live, they know the market. They know where the grocery store is, and they know where the movie theater is, and they know where their friends live, but they don't necessarily know it as a real estate market. I mean, at least when they're getting started, there are people in that market that are going to know everything about what you need to keep yourself out of trouble. The realtors and brokers who've been working in real estate for 20 years in that market, the home inspectors who are professional home inspectors, the GCs that are licensed and experienced and have been working in that local market, they're always going to be thousands of times more knowledgeable in this space than we are, just because we're physically located there. And I think that's an important distinction for people to realize, that just because you're physically there, it doesn't mean you don't know the real estate market the way the professionals do. And the problem with that is that you get a false sense of security when you don't really know the market, because you think, well, I'm boots on the ground, but your boots don't know anything. Your boots are unknowledgeable, and they're unsavvy in the ways that can keep you out of trouble. When we build teams in every market that we work in, we're looking for people who've been there for a long time, and we're not looking for just boots on the ground. We're looking for the professionals in that market who've been there forever.
Yeah.
And they know everything about it because they really have turned out to be the most valuable asset. But even if we were investing at home, we would still use the internet to find our contractors, our home inspectors, our realtors. It's actually no different. We do the same thing. It's just a mindset shift.
That's awesome. That's cool. So what's y'all's backgrounds? I mean, how'd you get into investing? What was your start?
Yeah, so for me, I was in corporate America for 22 years doing real estate on the side. I started in 2003. I did not go immediately into remote investing. So I'll tell you that. I did the whole DIY, I could do this, I got this. And it was me and my dad and my brother. And we made $1,500 over the span of 7 months. So it was not successful at that particular point in time. Is that we lived in California and our money was not going very far. Plus we didn't know what the heck we were doing. So I took a lot of lumps in the beginning until I actually found people that could help me and do it the right way. So, but I was working in corporate America the entire time, working my way up the corporate ladder, only to find out it was on the wrong wall. And all I wanted to do was make this side hustle a full-time thing so that I could leave that 9 to 5, which I was finally able to do in 2015. But I had a bumpy start. Well, I had a much bumpier start than Stacy did because I got a big ego and I think I can do it all myself. And I made a lot of mistakes. So that's how I started.
Yeah, my background was I was in corporate finance and accounting. I have a CPA license, not that I use it for anything, but that was my background, was accounting. So I'm very analytical. So actually for me, the difficult parts of my start really came with, I analyze. I'm very analytical. And so I would want to analyze things to death because I was scared. I didn't understand how it worked. And so there was a lot of fear that I had to overcome in the beginning because you really, no matter what you learn, and I was taking classes, I paid for a program, the program sucked, but I paid for a program. I learned everything that there was to learn, except it was only about 6% of what you actually need to know. But really where I learned it was going out and doing it and making mistakes or like saying the wrong thing and having a realtor be like, what? But I would analyze everything to death. So it really, for me, I had to push through a lot of fear in the beginning just to go because I kept coming up with every reason not to make an offer. Oh, but I don't know this. I don't know that. So yeah, but that was because of my accounting background. And a lot of people who have engineering and accounting type jobs struggle like I did to just get going because you just sit and thought. Jen's like a doer, like she got into action fast. And we just, everyone has their own separate journey of learning. I think they're both bumpy,
right.
But
they're a little bumpy
in different ways.
Balance each other out. We figured it out.
Well, that's awesome that y'all are very complimentary there. I tend to be somebody who's pretty analytical. As I've gotten more and more into the business world, I've gotten more action oriented off the jump. I don't know if you guys are big into DISC assessments. I was saying a week or two ago, I think my DISC score has probably changed over the past couple of years. I think I'm more high D than I, just because that's what it takes. You have to be super action oriented and go do the thing. And done's better than perfect. So
yes,
exactly. Exactly.
So tell me about you guys' focus. So obviously it's remote. Are you guys mostly single family, multifamily? I know you said not mobile homes.
Yeah, we're in multifamily, so we don't really do anything with single family. We literally not anymore. Yeah. We have 2 single families left in our entire portfolio, and they actually are cash cows.
Yeah, they're actually cash flowing really well. So no reason to get rid of them.
Yeah, there's no reason to get rid of them at this point in time. But yes, we are 99% of our entire portfolio is in multifamily because that's just it's easier for us to look at that from a perspective. If somebody moved out, then we don't have 0% occupancy and we can still cover the net. So we prefer multifamily, and that's really our sweet spot. What we really like is between 5 to 25 units, and taking that down. Yeah, so that we have 1 motel in our portfolio that we don't know what the hell we're doing. We're just trying to figure that out. So I'll tell you, that's me again. So I still have that see it, let's seize it, let's figure it out type of mentality. Yeah. But now I can afford to take some lumps more than I could before. Not that I want to take any lumps, but we're figuring out the hybrid building mix of some long-term rental and short-term rental all in an old motel that we're refurbishing and putting down a new business model there, but I think it's going to be a one and done. I don't know. If
it's a lot more labor intensive.
It is. There's a staff, so multifamily
Yeah.
is better for us because we can get a property management company in there, and then it helps us scale. The motel, I've noticed, helped us slow down.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you touched on something that I've been talking with a lot of people lately about is it's a mix of short-term and long-term. Kind of where do you guys see the market going if we do end up having a recession? What do you think is going to happen with a lot of people that have short-term rentals and stuff like that going on right now?
It's my opinion. I just want to comment first. Like, there's no doubt about it. We're going to have a recession. In my opinion.
I don't think there's an if on that one.
Yeah,
It's
just when, right? Yeah. And like first quarter of next year, will it hit or will it hit sooner? I feel like the Fed is doing a lot to try to mitigate that and get us at a soft landing, but I just don't know that we can actually have a true soft landing and like we did in 2020. So for me, I know that when there's more buyers than there are homes, that means that people need to rent. And so what I see is rent going up and the need for multifamily.
Yeah. But so to your question specifically about short-term rentals, because we have in our academy, we have a lot of students who they come to us to learn multifamily. But when you're going through that journey, you learn about and you hear about short-term rentals. It is such like the shiny, it's so shiny and sexy right now. Everyone wants it. And the main thing that I tell my students is, look, there's nothing wrong with going that route to try to increase the cash flow, but you have to know, look at what happened during COVID. We have one of our students who came to us like right after COVID. She lost her entire 50 units of Airbnb because everything completely shut down and without any time to adjust. So I said, look, knowing that has happened before, and it's not like it's likely to happen again, but recession will come at some point and discretionary spending will kick in. And people will vacation less. So you have to go in with a dual strategy to be able to survive through the difficult times. Real estate's always going to go up and down. So you got to survive when it's down or be in buying mode if you have, access to capital. So we just tell them when you're evaluating a deal that you were wanting to do short-term rentals, make sure you're evaluating it as a long-term, a regular rental also, and make sure that it still works, that it at least pays for itself plus a little, so that if the short-term rentals or the Airbnb, it's not like kicking off a lot of cash flow or you're starting to lose money, you can quickly adjust and get somebody in there to ride through the time until, people start vacationing more again. So that's really the main adjustment. I think the Airbnb market is going to take a huge hit.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, recession or not, it just inflation is going to drive people to slow down just because the cost of vacationing is more. And if they don't have it, then they're going to do it less. So that's the main thing for people in Airbnb is just start creating the plan B and don't be afraid to make a move quickly. When you see the signs, adjust quickly. Like don't go broke trying, to keep your dream. Sometimes your dream needs to adjust and that's okay. That doesn't mean you failed. It just means the economy shifts and you shift with it.
Yep. I've had that conversation with a lot of people the last couple of weeks. I agree with you that I do think that as the market starts to drop, I think rents are going to continue going up. I recorded a video on this probably 2 weeks ago, just about the deficit that we're in housing because 60% of contractors got knocked out between 2007 and 2009. So we just haven't had the construction capabilities, and we're in, I don't know, a 15 million house deficit right now. That's obviously going to have massive implications across the country. So I think what you guys are doing is definitely an awesome opportunity zone for people across the country. So tell me a little bit about your academy. What do you guys focus on? How long have you been doing that? What do your students expect to learn?
Oh, absolutely. So, well, we've been teaching, actually Stacy specifically started teaching back in 2007,
2006.
And it was really funny because she was doing it one-on-one and she got a lot of enjoyment out of that. And I just realized, well, there's an opportunity here because as an investor, I don't really have a network or a community to kind of go and gripe to or get over myself with, right? And I thought, well, what would it look like if we could do many people and teach them and we could create a community? So that's how it was born. It was born in 2018 on an idea. In 19, we implemented it by the end of the year. And we started just growing it with students and really just showing people the way and showing them our methods. And now we just started to build it and what they do and what our promise is. And we literally guarantee we get people into their first deal within 90 days. And when you do get into contract within that first 90 days, then we bonus you with another 30 days of coaching in the program, which is like, we want people to be incentivized because there's a lot of fear out there.
Yeah.
And people are so afraid that if they feel like, oh man, I just don't know if I have the time or if I have the money or the resources or whatever, we show them all of those ways. And I'm a mindset coach and we've got 5 other real estate coaches that do multifamily investing. Everybody is in there together. And we have our online learning platform that they can access at any given time. And it's like A to Z learning. Stacy's really good at breaking it down. I'm not a good teacher, but she's a phenomenal teacher. We constantly hear all the time about how, oh my God, Stacy, you made so many complex like concepts really easy to follow. And so everybody goes on the online learning platform and knocks that out and then gets into action. Our entire academy is about, you can learn just like everybody else is learning, but we're going to be on that 6 and you're going to get into action and you're going to get in a deal in 90 days or less because, well, we're going to be right there with you. What's up? What are you doing? Are you making offers? And it's really just, that's how the culture is in the community. And I know you probably have things to add to that.
Well, Tyler, you know, when I said like, I paid $40,000 for my education back in 2003. And I was like, I feel like I learned like such a small percentage of everything I needed. Like every time I would close a property, I was like, hold on a second. I would learn all these things. Why wasn't any of this, like, why didn't anybody teach me this? I should not have to learn this way. I paid a lot of money. And so very early on, I've no matter what I've been, even before investing, when I was in accounting, you know, I was like, oh, I love debits and credits. So I would have like, an accounts payable clerk. I would hire an accounts payable clerk or an accounting manager. And I'd be like, let me teach you about, so I've always had a passion for teaching whatever it is that I had learned or mastered. But back then I was like, you know what, if I ever figure this out, and I wasn't even sure that I would, back then I was like, I'm going to go back and teach it because it's not right. This is people's dream. And it's frankly, it's their opportunity to take control of their future and their retirement. Because we cannot rely on Social Security. There's no way. I absolutely do not believe that I can rely on it being there when the time comes. And even if you have like a 401k, depends on the market. What depends on when you retire. Hopefully things are good. You know, there's all these different things that you can't control. And it's not right. It's not right that people should pay for training and get crap that they can't actually do anything with, or they can only do the first 3 steps, but they didn't realize they missed steps 4 through 8, which 4 through 8 is where it saves them from losing $10,000. So I was very passionate back then about someday I'm going to go back and I'm going to help people do this. And I'm going to hold their hand across the finish line, because what I saw was I was motivated enough to work through my fear and start closing deals. And that is how I learned. And I asked a million questions. I'm the most annoying person on earth when I'm at a closing, because I'm like, well, what about this line? What does this mean? And why is it this amount? And what about this credit?
Oh, but she saves so much money.
every time. But because of that, I learned a lot. And our whole goal was to disrupt the multifamily education industry from being here's another notebook. I check a box. Cool. I've educated you. I've made my money. And basically make a place for people to come. And obviously education is a part of it, but that's not our focus. Our focus is helping people actually get across the finish line to closing that first and then second, third, fourth, 10th deal, because that's where they actually learn. They have to take the course that we made for them so that they understand it. But then in action, they're working with us and their coach and to actually close. So it's not our goal to educate. Our goal is to help people close and build a portfolio. And we're just very passionate about it. Our students are family to us.
I love that. Sounds like you guys are doing it the right way. I mean, y'all are checking all the boxes. You want to make sure that students get results. You're not just trying to go make money off that. You're somebody that's been there, done it before. And this is just an extension because it's a passion project. And I really like that. So,
Yeah, exactly. Like we've been hurt so many times by, stupid decisions or mistakes, or we didn't, you don't know what you don't know. So it's just like, we can see a red flag 100 miles away now. And if we can help one of our students who, they're not going to see that red flag, they don't know what they don't know, but we can, and we can teach them, this is what I see, and this is what you need to do to mitigate that. Then they're going to build a foundation that's solid, that's on concrete instead of on sand, where it's just going to like sift away and they end up with nothing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, where can listeners find y'all? What's the best way for them to get connected?
Yeah, the best way is we do a weekly training. And on that weekly training, we'll cover multifamily topics. And then what we end it with is a live Q&A. And it's all on Zoom. So we bring them over as panelists. They can ask us questions in person, and we try to help people get unstuck and get back into action. The best way to look for us or to register for that is it's www.wowaua.com. WOW stands for Warriors of Wealth. That's what our network is called, all of our students. And then AUA is Ask Us Anything. So it's wowaua.com. And register, and we do them every Wednesday.
Okay, awesome. Well, are you guys also on social media? Obviously, people can go to your website.
Yes, we have we have our own Facebook group that we have, and we put a lot of content in there for people too. So, and that's the Remote Multifamily Investing Academy. That's the name of the group. And then obviously you can find us on social media. I'm there under Jen Conkey and
I'm there as Stacy Rose Conkey.
Yeah, there you go.
Make my grandma happy.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I love that. It's perfect. Well, I would encourage everybody, because it sounds like y'all are doing the right thing. I'd encourage everybody to check y'all out. Definitely learn. I will be sending some people your way, because I get asked all the time about how to get started, because that's the hardest thing. I mean, there's so many resources online. You can learn and watch videos and read until you're blue in the face, but taking that information and figuring out how to apply it is a key. And if it sounds like y'all have all the boxes checked and a roadmap to be able to get started, so that's awesome.
That's exactly what we do have.
Yeah,
the first video is called The Roadmap.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, I was not playing, but all right. Well, everybody, I appreciate y'all checking it out today. Again, sorry I was in the mobile office, but check these ladies out. They sound like they have got all the boxes checked, know how to help make you successful in the real estate industry. If you have any questions, let us know, and check out the following episodes. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.